All right, welcome everyone. I'd like to call the Energy Awareness Commission for Tuesday, May 9th, 2023 to order. First item on the agenda is the approval of our March 2023 meeting minutes. Are there any questions or discussion?
No, I didn't. I move approval.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion in second to approve the March 2023 meeting minutes from the Energy Awareness Commission. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is reports from officers, boards, and commissions. First up is our CIP report. Derek?
As you can see, I just have been, the last few meetings, put an overall yearly summary of what rebates have, gone through my office and the number of rebates, and then any savings associated with those rebates. So at the end of April, through April, we've rebated just under $64,000 back to the customers of the utility. We've had some time to look at it. Any specific questions with the accounts or savings?
I see the 63,712. So is the cost per kilowatt the same for each program? Like,
Yeah, so, no, they're not.
Okay.
So, they're close, but they're not. Some are overpaid quite a bit. The rebate going to the person that's receiving it probably doesn't think that, because some of the rebates are, maybe it's $50 for a washing machine that costs $900, but the savings is a little bit,
per kilowatt,
Fair.
it might be higher.
yeah. But all the prices for the rebates are based on savings. It's never based on what the appliance, in this case, appliance costs.
So the kilowatt hour saved, is that the same? In other words, is the price per kilowatt hour saved the same for each of these items, or that's not how it's calculated, huh?
Some are, yes. Some are higher. So, well, that I guess I'm thinking with like gas. So gas is higher. The commercial lighting is pretty much 30 cents per watt saved. So if you get that in a kilowatt, it's probably 3 cents on some of them. Then if you go to like the natural gas ones, they could be $6 per decatherm or MCF.
So it's a little bit
Lighting
apples to
is
oranges.
probably always, lighting we're paying like 50% of the cost. So now we're talking way more than that. So they kind of do vary. It's easier to put an actual dollar amount when you do a custom rebate, because then they're also much larger monetary wise to the customer.
Thank you.
Yep.
So it looks like we had some steam rebates too this time.
Yeah, we had a few. Where were they located?
Where-
Oh, down at the bottom. Yeah, and the savings is just because I haven't calculated them yet, or there might not have been savings actually in that case that the state recognizes. So with the steam rebates, a lot of that is through the fixing and replacing of steam traps. But that program now being taken over by the district energy department is rebating, 50% of the costs up to like $7,500 on just getting stuff fixed. So the state may not recognize certain corrective actions they're doing, but there's still savings there. Like they don't have, for instance, they don't have a leaking condensate line as something you can claim, even though we possibly could figure that out and send that into them for approval. But there's still, there's energy to be saved with the leaking condensate line, because that's then, once it goes back to the power plant, they need to recoup not raw water, but water from the water department to replace that lost condensate that could be reused in the boiler. So, yeah.
That's good. I know there were times it didn't seem like we had very many of those.
I mean,
so.
and we've been trying to push it with our steam revitalization and our audits that we did. So, just kind of lately when downtown's getting kind of torn apart, people are doing some more renovations.
And does CIP mean conservation incentive?
Conservation improvement program.
Okay.
Any other questions or discussion about the CIP report? Otherwise, I'd be looking for motion.
I'll make the motion to approve the CIP report.
A second?
Okay, we have a motion and second to approve the CIP report. Any other questions or discussion? Right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is to receive and order file a report from the NU New Ulm Public Utilities Clear Energy Solutions Program.
So this agenda item was presented to the Public Utilities Commission meeting at their last regular meeting just a few weeks ago. So what this is, we're starting a different type of program, and we're calling it Clear Energy Solutions. And the first, I guess, sub-program underneath that is our Renewable Energy Credit Program. So we currently have, part of our energy portfolio is 25% renewable energy. That's wind from Heartland Energy in South Dakota. So what people can do, customers, residential, commercial, or what we're calling business, because the rate class is small commercial and large commercial, so we're calling it business. And then industrial customers can purchase, if they're wanting to have more renewable energy in their portfolio, is to purchase renewable energy credits. So one renewable energy credit is equal to 1 megawatt hour of energy. So what we have set up is residential customers can purchase for $1 a month, $2 a month, or $3 a month, either cover the $1 would cover 50% of their usage, $2 is 75%, and $3 is 100%. So technically what they're paying for is they already are receiving 25% of what they use as renewable energy. They just would be covering an additional 25% to reach 50%, and then, 50% for 75% and the 75% for 100%. So, and that's kind of similar to like the business and well, the industrial is kind of different. Industrial is extremely huge. That will more likely be through a contract, because then you get into different headquarters out of state and things like that. They have their own personal mandates that they're looking at, so it gets more technical. But on the business side, I think it's 0.001 cent per kilowatt hour on their usage is what they'd pay if they're interested. So it's a lot of utilities are starting to offer programs like this for people that either, say they rent or they don't have the land to purchase and put up solar on their land or on their rooftop. They can still purchase energy through us by buying those renewable energy credits, because they're overseen by Mid-Continent Independent System Operator. They have a program, so they're overseen, and it gets kind of technical, but then they can kind of have proof through us that they're receiving additional energy, because we would be actually buying it for them on their behalf. So we are buying that and it's going, you know, through the utility. So it's another option for people that can't afford solar or any, you know, any other reasons that I explained. So, yeah.
So do people in apartments have this option?
Everybody,
It's this, it would be the
it's
same?
anybody that has an account
Okay.
set up. So anybody in an apartment could do it. We're thinking we're gonna have it rolled out beginning of next month.
So a person could pay $36 a year, $3 a month,
Yep.
and 100% of their basically they're offsetting.
Yeah, I mean, in all
100%.
reality, that actual energy, you know, say we're buying it, we're buying it from, what would we be buying it from Heartland Energy. So it'd be coming from the wind in South Dakota.
Yeah,
Now, just like anywhere else that, you know, any utility that has something somewhere else, oops, you know, say it's Alliant Energy who has, that's based out of Wisconsin or Iowa, you know, they have wind out by Albert Lee, I believe. But that's wind being produced, but it's actually not going to Minnesota. It's going to Wisconsin and Iowa. So those,
It's wherever
that
we have
actual
the
energy isn't going to your house, but the point is that you're helping to support the renewable energy. And, you know, especially with, I assume that, you know, the 2040 carbon free, you know, we have to meet that standard. I feel that this is going to help a little bit meeting that also, because we are getting those renewable energy credits, which have value, and they have a dollar amount, and they have a number that's associated with them as proof that that energy that was produced is with that credit or certificate. I always say credit, but I think it's renewable energy certificate. So, you know, and it's another option of not forcing something on someone, but it's, if people are wanting to, then they now have an option, so.
You know, the more I thought of this, I still don't quite understand how, if I pay $1, does the utilities have a formula that 50 people paid an extra dollar, whatever percentage that is? Is that actually,
increasing our renewable energy.
yeah,
Yeah, we're getting the renewable energy credit, which is
but what does that mean?
credit certificate.
Yeah.
It's showing that 1 megawatt hour of energy was produced with a renewable energy source.
Okay, but then that's,
But you got to remember, electricity isn't just, you know,
Like something on a
it goes
shelf.
wherever.
yeah,
It's going wherever, right? So is that, I guess I'm following, but I'm not fully following.
Does it, so Mary Ellen and I each do $3, $36 a year, so that's $72.
Yep,
And we're buying that credit.
yep.
It's kind of like a gift to a nonprofit, I guess, because
Well,
it's not
it's-
lowering my rate.
No, it's
So
not lowering your rate. You're still
I'm paying on
you're
top
still
of it.
paying,
The same.
well, just like any renewable energy, if, you know, it needs to be funded.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, because it's not free. It's, you know, there's infrastructure, there's everything that involves with
But
that.
does it give New Ulm then the ability to increase its renewable energy
Portfolio,
purchases? Okay.
yes,
So that's,
yes.
so we're investing in
Yes.
our renewable energy portfolio, but it's not going to reduce my electricity bill by.
Right.
But it helps us meet that
It'd be,
20.
yeah, right. But just say any utility or an individual that's not a utility, you invest in that solar, you have that upfront cost. There's eventually a payback, but, you know, it's over time,
Yep.
you know. So their payback is when the sun is shining and they're using that, and when they're not, they have to go through the utility off the grid. I guess it's kind of a comparison. I don't know how well it is, but it's, you know, it's an adder. It's an adder onto the bill.
I think people need to get the idea that it, because I read this in the paper and I thought, so it's not reducing
No,
my
it's not
bill for the
reducing.
amount, it's
Nope.
increasing it.
Yep.
$36 a year would be my investment in New Ulm in renewable energy.
Right.
So I'm in, I wouldn't have to do that, but we're gonna end up paying in our energy bill
Well,
at some
regardless
point. aren't we?
regardless of what utility it is or individual, if this state or the country's going renewable, it's going to cost more because you have to put the
For
infrastructure
the
in.
infrastructure.
You have to put the panels up, or you have to put wind up, or hydro, or
Transmission.
yeah. So I mean, I think that's the mistake people think, is they think stuff's free, and it's not. At least not initially.
So and I might be wrong about this, so Derek, correct me if this doesn't sound right, but it's like giving them another option years ago. I don't know how many people are familiar with it. I think New Ulm looked into doing like a solar garden.
Right.
But the pricing and the interest wasn't there. So now this gives people an option who, that
Right.
was too pricey, but now I have this to buy into those certificates
Right.
for renewable
Right.
energy. That's going to, as of right now, would be more affordable than the solar
Right.
garden
Yeah, that's a great example.
idea. So,
Yeah, right.
So if everybody in New Ulm paid an extra $1
Yeah.
to put us up to 50%, would all our energy that we get, would 50% of that be from wind and solar?
It would be mostly wind.
Okay.
Yeah.
But would we immediately go up to 50%?
Yeah, we're buying those renewable energy credit. I mean,
Okay.
we're
But we're buying the credits, but that doesn't mean that we're getting the energy from wind, correct?
you're only going to get that direct energy unless you have it directly hooked up to what you're using.
Right.
So eventually, say the whole country has wind or solar. There's no, let's say in theory, there's no coal plants, there's no natural gas plants,
But
Then
right
you would
now,
be.
We're at 25% that we're getting from wind.
right?
That's what New Ulm is using,
We're
25%.
paying for, right. Does that mean that those electrons or whatever through the wires in this town and to your home is coming from that? No, it's not. But that's the same thing as with, Alliant Energy, who's got those wind turbines down by the southern border of the state. They've paid for that. It's being produced, it's going on the grid. They're getting credit for that, to putting that renewable energy on the grid, because everyone is hooked up to the grid. So that energy is going, there. So there's people probably really directly getting their energy from wind, but they're not paying for it. They're paying whoever their provider is, which might be more natural gas. You get what I'm saying?
So that 20 to 25% that we get from Wessington Springs, that would go up the more people did
Right.
this? Okay.
Yep.
So really the goal is to get to, well, it's 100% by
Mm-hmm.
2040, but if this really is something that our community enrolls in, we should see that percentage going up. Is that correct?
Right. So, well, and the more that, so eventually, I mean, if people want to do this program and support renewable energy, in the long run, the more we as utility, whether it's, because we've been meeting with people, we've picked out locations to see what's feasible for wind or and solar and other things. Once we as utility have more in our portfolio, people that are opting to do this, rather than paying, $2 for 50%, they may be paying $1 for a higher percent because they don't have to, if they want to reach 100%, they won't have to pay more because we as a utility are already providing 25. Now we're at 50, 75 or 80% to the point where this program likely would probably go away because
we
it
would
wouldn't be
achieve our
necessary. It wouldn't
100%.
be necessary.
Yeah, so it should, if enough people enroll over time, that percentage will increase.
Right.
And then essentially the extra money they would pay would go down or be
Right.
totally gone in the end after
Sure.
everything's.
Is it like this is a really dumb question, but I feel like it's a donation to our renewable energy portfolio is what it is, or an investment.
Yeah.
Are there nonprofits that do that where people can actually write a check and get a deduction?
I don't know. So you're asking if this is like a
deductible.
tax deduction? I
Yeah,
don't know.
Like $36 a year. It's
I don't
like
know.
a charitable contribution.
I don't know.
Well, we should.
I'm not a
look-
tax advisor. Maybe a good.
I'll check it out because that would be an incentive.
Oh no, without a doubt.
Because
Yeah.
I think when I read it in the paper, I was like, is this like just a charitable contribution? It's an investment. We don't have to do it.
Right.
It's not going to change the electrical service that I'm getting.
Right.
But it does allow me to help expand renewable energy in New
Right.
Ulm. Well, I'm going to check that out.
That's
Because
a
if it
great
is tax
question.
deductible, then we should be marketing that.
Oh,
too.
I agree. Yeah, it's complicated, and the whole renewable energy certificate world is just kind of
There might not even be an answer to that. Oh, I'm sure there is though, because credits have been around for a long time.
yeah,
Yeah.
they have.
So
I mean, they're tradable. They're worth different ones are worth different amounts of money.
but like that.
it gets
outfit,
to the point
Interfaith
where, like,
Power
is
and
this-
Light,
this real? It's kind of weird, but it is a way to prove that you're supporting that extra that industry, and I suppose by purchasing them, there will be upgrades and other things to say the wood turbine, they need to be recommissioned. They can be made better to be more efficient. So I don't know if roundabout way, a person, if they elect to do this, is essentially also helping to keep that specific location up and running, the life of it. I mean, yeah. But it's voluntary. It's, because you're right, it's an adder onto the bill. It's
Yeah,
another,
it's
it's
not
another
ridiculous.
line item on a bill.
it's like I live at real life,
Mm-hmm.
and we each pay our own.
Yep.
And I know I can get a few people to do it.
Yeah.
But then we also have a separate account for our common areas. It's like, and if that rate is the same,
Mm-hmm.
well, I can probably raise the $36 or pay it myself
Mm-hmm.
for our whole, for the
Right.
common areas, for the
Right.
for the monthly bill we get for the living room, the halls, and so forth.
Right.
Or our board could say, we're going to do this $3 a month and just increase the monthly fees. I'm the treasurer.
Could,
and
yeah.
I hear about that,
Yeah.
but that is what it is. I mean, it's
Right.
a contribution. It's not a energy purchase
Right.
directly.
You'd almost think you could write it off somehow. I mean, if you were an individual or a business looking to install something, you get a tax credit.
Yeah, it's not a deduction, but it's a
Right.
it's a. I mean, well, maybe it is, but it's not
Something. Yeah.
So do we need a motion to?
Yeah, if there's no other questions or discussion, then I'd look for a motion to receive and order filed.
I move that we, receive the Clear Energy Solutions report and promote this program.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second to receive and order file the report from the New Ulm Public Utilities Clear Energy Solutions Program. Any other questions or discussion?
I did have a question about promotion.
Yep.
Is this something that we could do like a meeting about it at a future Energy Awareness Commission where we do some publicity and actually talk a little bit about
Yeah,
it?
I mean, anything you want to do, I think it's just in between meetings, it's meeting and getting an idea of what any of you want on the agenda, and if there's anything you want to add on the agenda. And you're also more than welcome to present anything if you want to do. It's just making sure that we get it on the agenda as an official part of the record and all that stuff. So, yeah.
Well, I would just say I would like to discuss at a future meeting how we really do promote it. We don't need to plan that here and now, but.
Right,
I
we can
do
plan it
think-
in between and get an idea. I mean,
Yeah.
we can certainly do that. I think that's within the rules. I mean, especially if it's just,
But-
especially as long as there's under a quorum, I mean, then can't make a decision anyways. We can just say, okay, let's just get this on the agenda.
Maybe by the July meeting, we'd have a rough plan that we could discuss about how to promote it beyond.
We can meet as a group also, but if we're gonna have a quorum, I just need to know, and then we just need to publicize that. It doesn't need to be in here, and it doesn't need to be filmed. We can meet at our office and do that also whenever.
Okay.
So that's whether it's that or Green Steps or whatever comes up.
All right, with that, again, we have a motion and second to receive and order file the report for New Ulm Public Utilities Clear Energy Solutions Program. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, under old business then, a follow-up from what we talked about at our last meeting. It's a report for best practice 16.6 and 16.7 for Green Step cities.
Yeah, like Jordy said, 16 best practices, 16.6 and 16.7 that you approved at the March meeting. I sent that off to the Green Step Cities Coordinator. They accepted the summary and the supporting documentation. And 16.6, I believe, was 3 stars that we received and 2 stars for 16.6. And then what I'm going to try to remember to always do is, you don't have to print it out, but just attach the assessment each time. So they're on there, and if any notes that they put is on there. So this is just a notification that they were accepted and they're officially part of the New Ulm's assessment, Green Cities assessment portfolio.
Okay.
And then the primary, I read that primary issues, alternatives to consider, that was just the actual agenda item from last month that I put on there just for your reference.
Thank you, Derek. Any other questions or discussion? Otherwise, I'd be looking for motion to approve the report.
I'll make the motion to approve the report on the BP 16.6 and 16.7.
Do I have a second?
I could second that.
Okay. A motion and second to approve the report on best practice 16.6 and 16.7. Any other discussion or questions? Right.
This is just a comment on the green steps. I recall at the last meeting that some of the practices that get increased points relate to food accessibility in farmers markets. And I can report that 3 of us are working to get a SNAP EBT card reader at both the Thursday and Saturday farmers market.
Oh, okay.
It's been an effort, it's not that hard to get, but it was hard to kind of bust into the
Sure.
infrastructure of the farmer's market and have the conversation. But once done, KNUJ, they staff it, and myself as a member of FEAT, the Food Environment Action Team of Alina's Hearts Beat Back New Ulm program, and Jen Maurer and Brown County Public Health we've had a couple of meetings, we've developed the application. In fact, I think it's going to get submitted this week. And so that should increase the number of people that come to the farmer's market to
Yeah.
get good food
Yeah.
and fresh vegetables. So I hope that allows more check marks.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, yeah, that's something that I can send off to them and attach to that. Yep.
And we hope to have it by the first farmer's market on June 22nd. And we're also buying better signage and advertising. We've got little mini grants for it, so.
Right. I mean, even if there's some, best practice, if we have 3 stars already, but if we approve upon it, it still could be something worth sending to them because other communities, look at other communities for examples of what to do. And that's kind of part of this process is, working together and supporting other places, so.
Well, and it's been one of the reasons that the legislature's allocated money in the Department of Ag budget for farmers markets is to get EBT card readers, because these are voluntarily staffed. It's not like
Right.
there's a paid staff person at farmers market. It's farmers who are
Yeah.
coming to sell their wares. So
Yep.
the legislature's really trying to promote more community food systems and using more EBT.
Cool.
Sorry, I keep.
You're fine.
Appreciate what that group is doing.
Yeah, I'll
Crossed a lot of bridges to get where you are now.
3 years ago, I didn't feel like we'd ever do it, but
But it's happened. Well,
we'll see. I mean, yes, it'll happen, but I can't wait till we actually get it. Yeah.
the final page isn't done yet.
No, that first day, we're looking forward to it.
All right, thank you for the additional information. Any other questions or comments? Okay. With that said then, all in favor of approving best practice 16.6 and 16.7 reports, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, on to new business, home energy audits. I think Derek has attached some information for us.
I believe last meeting, we discussed home energy audits a little bit. So I wanted to show you some reports that I've received from Center for Energy Environment, who I have a contract with to conduct energy audits in New Ulm. These were done a few years ago, but in the last newsletter, or maybe it was 2 newsletters ago. Anyways, I advertised that, I had funds available for energy audits this year, and we did get some calls of some individuals that wanted some energy audits. I think there's been 6 that are scheduled. I know there's at least 1 or 2 that the timing wasn't right, so they'll probably do that in the fall. And I think we'll also advertise more when it gets closer to the fall. I think it's better to conduct those when it's, not 80 degrees out. So I've just attached 2 examples of these homes, the pictures on on your PDF are not homes in New Ulm, but I switched out private information with some general stuff. So, but this is what the reports look like that the residents receive. It gives them a score, gives them what they feel are some options of improvement, and they take a look at attic insulation, interior walls, and what have you. So they're pretty good reports. They give them examples of infrared camera shots from inside their house. Yeah, it's a lot of information. Some of it's kind of general information, just educational, but there's a lot of actual real input from those individuals' homes that they can use. So this is just kind of informative. Do you have any questions regarding the reports that these individuals receive, or any other general questions?
How does this work for apartment buildings?
Well, they can still be done. It would be something where I did something with, it wasn't apartments, but they were condos. And I did that, and just kind of was working that out. It'd be working out, so say where you're located, you want to get something so the individuals know and also the owners, where it's the whole building. It'd be just working out and getting the okay from each person to get in to each apartment. It's doable.
Derek, were these from a few years ago, I think before COVID, when we were talking about these? They also do like a walkthrough with the homeowner,
Yeah.
correct? Okay.
Yep. Yeah, they don't just come in and leave and send you the report. They
should
Yeah,
go
they do.
through it.
Yep.
This is more sophisticated than the one I had in Montana. It covered the same things, I think, but
Yeah, I mean, and some of it could be a little intimidating when you look at it. I mean, it's like some other reports. You have to, even if you don't know some of the terminology, if you take just your time and look at it, you can at least get the gist of what's kind of going on.
but like, look at there's the home energy loan program. I mean, it shows all the ways to accomplish this. It's wonderful.
Yeah, they have some at the end. They have some other things. Of course, they deal a lot with Excel, and the one mistake they did on not all of them, but some of them, and I happened to accidentally grab them and print and put them on the agenda, is they show rebates and things like that, which, like I said, they deal with Excel a lot. So it has Excel's information on there. But that, and other ones, they have ours and have some other information for loans. And you can actually get loans through them also.
Any other questions or discussion related to the home energy audits?
Well, maybe at the same time, if we were to do some more outreach on the clear energy solutions, we could also do some outreach on this at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just thinking of 3 or 4 groups in the community. One being the League of Women Voters, where we would have an eager audience and they have more time to think about this, and they might, where we could actually, Deb and I could do a presentation on both of these at a meeting and
Sure.
help refer people. And I can think of a couple other groups that might
Right.
be like that. But
Yeah, and the home energy audits, it'd be nice to try to, and it's hard to find because we don't have the information. We probably could find it, but I don't know how much the utility wants to gather that personal information. But the lower income or less represented individuals, they may not be able to afford the corrections that are within the report, but I think knowing is half the battle. Once they know, at least there's an understanding, and then of course there are.
well, there are inexpensive corrections almost
Yeah.
always that are found.
Right.
What is your capacity to have them? How long a list can you handle?
I
How
think it
fast
was.
Or how much capacity have you got to get them?
You mean dollar amount?
No, is personnel.
Like, if you had
Well,
100, could you do them?
Well, I don't do them, so yeah. Well, it's contracted through Center for Energy Environment,
They take about it. 3
so
hours.
it takes a few hours. So I mean,
I mean, if we
they have with the 6 that are scheduled. I mean, they're doing it in 2 days, I think.
doing
I have it
six,
on the
That makes sense.
Who is they?
Center for Energy Environment.
They're paid to do it.
Okay.
and trained to do it. So they come to your, I had one done in Montana. They come to your house and do this blower door. They would do a walkthrough. They have a conversation. They generate a report. They come to your house and go through the report to show you these are the fixes that you could do. Some people could read this and instantly know. I couldn't. So it probably, well, I would not worry that we'd have too many initially. That would be a nice problem for us to have.
This is what, Jordy, this is the third time since I started. I think I've budgeted for it.
Yeah.
And within a year, maybe there's 13 or 14.
Maybe.
So, I mean, and it's,
We got
at one
double
time it
that,
was, it's not like it's not advertised.
right.
But like I've said before, it's, even though I know it's in the newsletter and I know everybody in theory should be receiving the newsletter, people have to be willing and wanting to take that information, actually look at it and do something with it.
The volunteers for this, so to speak.
Nobody's volunteering for it. They get paid. I have a contract with them.
But a homeowner,
No,
yes.
the homeowner.
Oh, yeah.
The homeowner, they
Yeah.
potentially, they don't pay anything to have this done.
Correct.
And then the savings they might get off the recommendations, like you say, there are some pretty cheap things a person
Oh,
could
yeah.
be doing.
Installation.
They could come out of this financially pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And increasingly, there would be programs to help offset some of the costs.
And they're right.
Well, if I recall you at the last meeting saying the best thing to focus on, at least for us, is the energy conservation side of it. Reducing our carbon
Right.
footprint, not so much worrying about installing more solar,
Right.
or, which is fine, we can certainly think about
Right.
that, but to me, that, if we even doubled to, say, to 25, the number of houses this year, we'd be building on it, and I think it could become more exponential
Mhm.
if people see, oh, and then we can also work with the retailers to make sure they're carrying the energy efficient, or that it's
Right.
easy to get an energy efficient water heater, because when your water heater breaks, you gotta have it now. And if they don't have it in stock,
Right.
that happened
Much
to us
more
in real
do they
life.
cost?
I don't even
That's a
know.
stopper.
Yeah, that could be a deal breaker for some people, but the rebates are there too.
Right. Yep.
And there are rebates for more things, I think.
I'm sorry. What was that?
There are rebates are covering more things these days. Is
Yes.
that-
Yeah. Yeah, they are. Yep.
Yeah, and the energy audit too is a good thing. I don't know if people realize it or not, but if you're gonna, especially if you're gonna do a significant remodel or something, if you do it before, there's gonna be at least some things that aren't gonna cost you much more to
Right.
integrate into that remodel at that time, but, so.
Does Minnesota Valley Action push the people that receive their weatherization to follow, or do they do this themselves when they do a weatherization project?
That's where these,
Or is it just kind of automatic with them?
They do. So the program we have with them is just appliances. So I don't know what they do with the other weatherization, with, insulation and things like that.
So we used
should
to
talk to
administer that here for Brown County years ago.
Yeah.
When I was responsible for getting it done. And we turned it back to them because they kept growing in their capacities.
Okay.
And we had to depend on local contractors, some of which do a lot about it and some of which didn't,
Mm-hmm.
or were even contrary to what we should have been doing.
Right.
So I'm just wondering how much connection these two programs have to each other.
Yeah, it gets tricky with the contractors and,
And with Minnesota
back.
Valley
yeah.
Action.
Because there's, we pay 100% of whatever they send us.
Okay.
And there's stuff that we rebate, and we're rebating, say, for a furnace check and clean or AC check and clean, bill credit $40 because it's $90 or $100. Well, MVAC sends a bill they have a contract with whoever and it's exponentially, it's a lot more. It's like, why?
The contractor's
Yeah.
cost is more.
Right,
Oh, then someone that
Why?
isn't.
yeah,
Well,
pretty interesting.
we should meet with Minnesota Valley.
Well, I'd have to go back in an email on why they said that. I don't know if it's anything they can control. It's what, I don't
They
know.
get built, or
Yeah,
It's a federal program.
yeah, I mean,
Comes through the Department of Commerce.
I'm sure it has to do with, yeah, exactly what you're getting at. You get certain people's names behind it, the price goes up.
but
Yeah,
I don't know.
if it's a weatherization program, in theory, wouldn't this audit be the right thing to do?
that's what I'm thinking here. You know, when
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. Yeah.
when I used to be responsible for the program, I wished I'd had somebody like this who really knew to go through and do the
Yeah.
assessment before I authorized the fixes, which usually had to do with, things that didn't work anymore, or were really old, or houses that the wind blew through. And in the course of, getting the contractors and approving this, a lot of weatherization was a big part of it at that time. But I don't know, it's
Yeah.
been 20, 30 years since
Right,
that went through county. It's now all Minnesota Valley actions for 9 counties. Yeah, we'd be 9, okay.
Is it within our purview to visit with them about this program?
Minnesota Action Council?
Yes.
Yeah, we could.
They're an open, they're government.
Yeah,
And they've gotten some really good people over the years in charge of this program. I know that.
yeah. Yeah, they're pretty, I mean, they're easy to work with.
But I don't know how much money they have anymore to do it with.
And I know I had talked to them a few years ago. It was with somebody different that I deal with now about, weatherization or more with getting insulation in and, things like that. It kind of fell through though.
So does it work that
'Cause I didn't really fully
people
understand
come
it.
to them for weatherization assistance? Is that
I believe so.
I-
Or they go out and they look for people
back in
through
the
other.
day? I remember it as a I remember windows and doors in particular and furnaces. But I don't ever remember any kind of infrastructure assessment.
Right. I
And
don't believe there was.
There wasn't. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I don't know if they.
However, some of their employees knew a lot about that
Yeah.
and pushed it to customers that were coming to them saying, what's this whole thing going to be? But they had limits on how much they could spend, and you get projects that, like I say, when the wind's blowing through the house, it got expensive fast to do anything about it.
But if people are going to them, it just seems to me that this energy audit makes sense for those homes. And it's free. Well, it's not free. The city's paying for it. But those would be the homes most in need of the assessment. They would be the older homes, I would think.
Well, yes. Energy assistance program is tied to the weatherization.
Mhm.
So when you apply for energy assistance, somehow they make a connect right away.
So there is some kind of an assessment.
It'd just be
to-
nice to know more how it works now.
Yeah.
Well, Tom, I'd go with you to just visit with them to learn about it, and we could bring some info on the audit.
Yeah, I don't know if they do their own audits
Find
or
out.
if they kind.
Energy.
Yeah. Because, like I said, the program we have with them is appliances. But I mean, it's broad. I mean, it's furnace. Well, it's not. It's all. See, that's where it gets tricky. It's all with electric. Because all those funds for that come from the electric department. So it's air conditioning units, freezers, refrigerators, dishwashers, and what have you. So it's not water heaters, it's not, like a furnace, but
The weatherization program is what gets into windows and doors.
yeah.
Everything to,
But the home energy audit is not restricted, it's not just electricity and appliance.
Right, correct.
it's
Yeah.
gas and
Yeah, they take a look at, yeah. Right,
propane, you name it.
yeah.
If it's, I'm just interested in having a conversation with them so we understand their system. And so we're thinking strategically about whether those homes could be audited, could go through an energy audit, whether there'd be that interest. I could see that some people would want it.
9 different counties, I'm sure they've dealt with this somewhere. We're not the only green in this south central.
No,
No, yeah,
no.
yeah.
We were the last county to join their weatherization and, well, not weatherization. Well, turnover administration to them, put it that way.
Mhm.
They had the same program in 8 counties before we decided to join them.
So you're looking to contact them to see if these audits, if we do that, that MVAC could benefit from as well? That's what you're kind of getting at?
If the people who are going to.
Well, the
MVAC
customer also, but the customer, MVAC using this energy audit to help the customer.
Exactly.
That's what you're getting at, yeah.
Someone's going to them for weatherization. And
Yes.
or what, they probably start with energy assistance. I need help with my heat bill. And they get plugged into weatherization, which kind of makes sense. Well, how do we reduce your heat bill? Then could there also be a hookup or consider an energy audit? And here's what it does, and it's free. And does Minnesota Valley, when the report comes back, there's all sorts of different ways to fund some of these things partially,
Mhm.
so that Minnesota Valley Action Council would be in a position to help people
Right,
make those investments themselves.
sure.
It's a way to increase the use of the audit program and to get the people most in need of energy assistance to retrofit their homes and meet our goals of reducing the carbon footprint through
Right.
retrofitting.
Yep.
For some reason, that made an impact on me last meeting. It's like, yeah, the most efficient way to use our energy here is to get people to
Right,
use less electricity.
I know that they've still got to have a connection with PUC here in Nome, because they did way back, where there was a person on the staff there that made the referrals to energy assistance because someone was not paying their bills. And PUC, this is someone in their, collection building department of PUC, wanted to try and maximize
yeah.
what they could get out of the energy
I'm guessing
assistance
it's
program.
the finance department and the people up front. You know,
Do that kind
r-
of thing.
make sure that they tell people that they know are having issues,
Sure.
that, because it is in their best interest, because
yeah.
it's,
Brings in
that's
money.
a way that they can get,
And
payment,
deals
part
with,
payment at least.
situations where they don't want to shut people off.
Right,
Right.
right.
Well, Tom, maybe that's something you and I can visit about with
Well,
Minnesota
Derek
Valley.
needs to be involved too.
Yeah, I'm making a note, I can write my contact, there's, her name's Emily, so.
One here in town that staffs her office here. Is
What's
that?
that?
The one that you work with,
No, out of Mankato.
you go directly?
Yep.
Okay.
That's for everything.
Maybe we could just do
And
a
I-
Zoom meeting or something.
Yeah, it does,
Yeah.
no party has to drive anywhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unless it,
Yeah, it's been several years, but I think you might have been here, but maybe it was even before that. Maybe it's been that long. They've been here a few times and
I
presented
think
at
that
our
was
meetings.
before I started, but soon, not that far before
Yeah,
it
because I know
began.
I think I remember twice the time I've been on the commission that they've been here.
Have you been on?
This is my second full term, so it's been several years.
Okay.
Yeah, so, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, because you were already on here when
yeah,
I started.
so,
That's, yeah, you filled in for somebody that left at
yeah.
that point, I think.
Yep, that's where, yep, so, yeah. Any other questions or discussion? Otherwise, I'd be looking for a motion.
I move.
Okay,
I second adoption of this.
okay, we have a motion and second to approve the home energy audit report summary. Any other questions or discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next thing on agenda is commissioner comments. I'll just add in, I don't have the exact date in front of me, but July would be our next meeting. Anybody have anything
What's
else?
the date of it?
I'll look it up when we're done here before you leave. Otherwise, with that, I call the meeting adjourned.